Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over the 6th or 7th winter discussion that we've had on this channel so far. So we've already had a few that we've talked about, and most of them have been multi-part videos. So this is also going to be one of them. I'm thinking that I'm probably going to have two parts to this video. They did a mid-September winter outlook on the Enzo, and they actually updated that from NOAA. So that's why I'm making this video. We have new information, so a lot more things to cover. In the second part of this video, I think there may even be a third part, but in the second or third part, we're going to talk about more the individual climate models and what they're showing for the winter months. So think about models like the CFS, the Canadian model, things like that is what we're going to look at mostly for the next video. So this is going to be at least a two-part video, maybe a third part if there's a lot of information that we need to get through and I still haven't gone into it. And the reason I split it up is just because I don't want to have one 30-minute video when I could split that up into two 15-minute videos, make it a little bit easier for you guys to actually get all the information. So let's start off with defining what a El Nino or a La Nina is, because I'm going to be throwing around these terms quite a lot, so I want to make sure that everybody knows what they are. And El Nino is typically the warmer of the two Enzo patterns. There's also Enzo neutrals, which are basically La Ninas, but the colder air is a little bit further to the east, so that jet stream and everything would be a little bit further east. If we look at the El Nino on the top of your screen, you can see mostly warmer for the north and drier as well for most of these areas. It is also a little bit wetter because we do have a subtropical Pacific jet stream in and along the southern United States, so that area does get a little bit more active, and it's the complete opposite as you get into a La Nina pattern. And by the way, La Ninas are when you have below normal temperatures in the equatorial Pacific, and El Nino is when you have above normal temperatures within that area. So we have colder temperatures into the northwest and also through parts of western Canada. That's where the cold is going to be fairly dominant. But if we look at the jet stream right here, you can see that that is going to kind of linger a little bit further to the south. And what we don't know exactly is where this high pressure up near Alaska will be. So this is going to be a huge determining factor into how this winter plays out. If this is a little bit further to the east or a little bit further to the west, all of that will be very, very important because this high pressure is kind of steering this entire jet stream. So if your high pressure is over here, well, now your jet stream is over the top of the northwest, and now maybe that cuts into the east coast. If this high pressure is, let's say, over the Aleutian Islands and it's a little bit further to the west, well, now that jet is going into the west and it's leaving the eastern United States in a little bit of a warmer, drier pattern. So you are dealing with that implication, and that is something that we need to pay attention to, and I think that is going to be one of the biggest things that we want to look at. And we're going to talk about a few things over this next couple of videos. We're going to look at the PNA, NAO, EPO, all of those different oscillations. That'll probably be in the second or third part of this video. And then again, we're also going to look at the model guidance. So here's a look at what the current equatorial Pacific looks like. You can see that we're dealing with, within this equatorial region, some below normal temperatures. It is fairly below normal, so we are dealing with a big pocket of colder temperatures compared to normal over the water. So that pocket is indicative of a La Nina. So we do have a La Nina currently, or at least an Enzo neutral going into a La Nina, and that's going to set the stage for what we're expecting for this winter. So one thing that I want to show is that early September we had much more confidence that this will be a La Nina, and Enzo neutral is also possible. Both of them would be rather chilly if you live in the northern half of the United States. And if you live in the northwest and you like cold and snow, you would probably be rooting more for a La Nina. If you live in the northeast, Great Lakes, probably more for an Enzo neutral if you want the colder and snowier winters. But both of them will either be most winters close to normal in terms of the snow, or even a little bit above normal. So there's really not too many winters where you're going to see a La Nina or an Enzo neutral and it ends up being below normal. So Either way, it's pretty much a win-win for most of you guys who like cold and snow. What you want to look at is the months on the bottom right here. So basically, just to give you an idea of what this means, if we look at OND, that stands for October, November, December. So over that 3-month time span, back in early September, we were expecting about a 70 to 80% chance of seeing a La Nina. This was early September. Here is mid-September, and you can see really changes. So here again is early September, here's mid-September, and I'll keep on going back and forth for you guys just to kind of give you an idea of how much greater of a chance the neutral now has. So I still think a La Nina is likely, but we're probably also going to be edging into Enzo neutral territory as well. So also, one thing that I think is noticeable is that the Enzo neutral in the mid-September outlook is much higher up there for the spring months. So you're looking at March, April, May, June, May, June, July. Those months and those time frames is when the Enzo neutral really goes up. And then we could potentially be seeing a resurgence of the El Nino, which I know a lot of you guys don't want to hear that, but that is possible. Again, we're still a few months out, so we can't really speak too much on the next winter in terms of the Enzo in terms of the Enzo outlook. But for right now, we're looking at about a 60-70% chance that for the winter months, November, December, January, February, that we see a La Nina. But again, we cannot rule out that 30 or 40% chance that we do have a Enzo neutral within that time frame. Either way, I think it'll be a fairly similar winter. I don't think a couple of fractions of a degree here and there is really gonna make or break your winter on whether it's an El Nino or a La Nina. Let's start talking about some of these models. So we're not looking at any of the climate models, for example, the CFS, those type of models in today's video, but we will be looking at some of these spaghetti line models where you kind of look at how far below or above normal the sea surface temperatures are expected to be. Here is the La Nina line, and you can see that the statistical average, the dynamical average, and the climate prediction center average is all below that line. So we're dealing with all different types of models, all thinking that this will be a La Nina winter. But again, we can't really rule out these few outliers that are pushing this a little bit further up, maybe into that Enzo neutral territory. So again, that's still definitely within the realms of possibility for this event. If we look at the IRI forecast, which is kind of just the full forecast mixed in with both dynamic models and also statistical models, both of them are in this, and you can see that we're looking at the peak of this really, and the peak of this La Nina really taking effect as we get into November, December, January, and December, January, February. So that time frame right there is when this really takes a dip. So just to kind of give you an idea of what this means, the purple line right here is what we already observed. So this is in the past. So we're looking from here and on to the right hand side of your screen is where you're looking at what's actually expected, and you can see that most of the models have this diving down into a La Nina briefly and then eventually back into an Enzo neutral. So we'll see if that does end up happening. If you look at the model-based distribution for this, this is showing you what percentile of the models are where. So you can see that the majority, the consensus is right along, I would say, between 3/4 of a degree below normal and 1/4 of a degree below normal. All of those models are looking at probably seeing around 1/2 a degree below normal. And the problem is that if you want to get technical, if you want to figure out technically which one each is going to be, you're looking at the threshold for a El Nino turning into a La Nina being minus 0.5 degrees. So it's going to be a little bit of a semantical battle where you're looking at some people saying it's going to be an El Nino, it's going to be a La Nina, or it's going to be an Enzo neutral. At the end of the day, I don't really think it matters too much, because what we're really focusing on is what's happening with that Alaskan ridge in the Pacific, because I think no matter what, even if this is a Enzo neutral or a La Nina, that's not really going to change anything with that ridge up there. So we do want to make sure that we do want to make sure that we have a good handle on what's happening with that ridge, because that'll really dictate what's happening with this event. And looking also at the climate forecast model here for the La Nina, you can see that for October and then through January and February, you can see that it does dip down on the CFS model, at least with the SST anomalies down near a degree or even a degree and a half below normal. So that's a weak or even moderate La Nina, which is actually rather surprising considering that most models don't have that. Most models are into the ENSO neutral range. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below, because I do respond to most of your comments. If you have any weather photos that you want to send in, for example, if you start to see some leaves turning colors, send them to the email in the description down below, and you'll be featured in the weather photo of the day. So if you guys send any in, I'll feature it in the videos. So make sure you get those in. I love sharing them, and I also do a little bit of an analysis on some of the pictures. So for example, just a couple of weeks ago, or not even, I think maybe just a week ago, somebody sent in a picture of the fall foliage, not really fall foliage, but the leaves turning colors in their area, and they wanted to know why. So I featured that on there, and then I broke down why that's happening. We looked at the precipitation analysis and all of that over the past week to figure out why some of the leaves were turning colors much earlier than what they normally would. So if you have any questions and you have a picture related to that, I'll definitely put a segment onto one of these videos. It's a ton of fun for me, and it's also fun for you guys if you want to send them in. So that's one thing. And then also, again, any comments, leave them down below. Make sure you are subscribed and you have your notifications turned on, because we'll be giving you part 2 and maybe part 3 of this video over the next couple of days, and we have daily uploads for you guys. So that is going to wrap it up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.